Namaste, soul family, subconscious community, and anyone tuning in from around the world. Thanks for tuning in. This is going to be a quick little video today on February 27th, Wednesday, 2019. So it's the day of Mercury today, here on Wednesday, Hump Day, and we're going to talk about some general planetary alignments and aspects that we have going on before we get to the next video, which will be looking at more specific planetary alignments and angles. In this video, though, we're just going to dive real quick into because right now what we have going on in our system that we live in, they call it the solar system. What we have going on is that all the planets are kind of grouping up right now. So it's interesting. When I woke up today, maybe 9 o'clock a.m. and I looked at the chart of the moment, and all the planets from the moon to the sun through every single planet was in the day. So through the 12th, for the 7th through the 12th house, as far as the chart of the moment goes, which basically gives you a depiction of the 360 wheel at any given moment. So I'll be checking the ephemeris on a regular basis. And so that's what we have right now, is we have so many groupings of planets that are in the same signs as each other, so they usually fall into the same house as well at any given time. So we're going to talk about those aspects that the planets are forming in groups right now before we get down to the actual degrees and which planet is specifically conjuncting or aspecting which planet. We're just going to talk about in general by sign right now. So without getting too far off, we're going to start by talking about we basically got three little things to talk about. I'd say three to seven, something like that. And so first thing we're going to talk about, so I'm using symbols here so that I actually have room for all this stuff. So the first thing is Sun conjunction with Mercury and Neptune, and that's in Pisces. So we've talked about Pisces, which is mutable water, the 12th house, and represents being mutable and adaptable to your own and other people's ways of of feeling and dealing with the emotion, riding those waves. You're hip to basically you're able to adapt in your own way, and you're able to see how other people do it. So it's like different levels of adaptation and of mutability as far as forming a vast perspective, which is something that Pisces and all mutable signs do. So Pisces giving us that feminine Jupiter energy. And so yeah, we have Sun conjunction Mercury and Neptune there. So Sun is okay with being in Pisces. Mercury doesn't like it. Mercury is in detriment and fallen right now. So Mercury has been turned off essentially for a while, or at least drowning really is what it is. But Mercury is almost done with Pisces, about to move into the fiery spark of Aries. So that'll be cool for the beginning of spring coming up here. Beginning of the year, the real year. And so now, so we're getting to, so what that represents is our conscious awareness and our actions and the way that things will look and appear, which is what the sun represents, which is why it's ultimately illusion, is heavily steeped in illusion right now because we're in Pisces, which represents the 12th house, the dreamlike state, the illusory state, creative imagination, all things doing with mutable water, very feminine. And so the sun being our conscious awareness and our actions, what we're consciously aware of, that's how things are looking right now and playing out. And then Mercury for our thinking and communication, and Neptune for our extra realm, deep realm of illusions and dreams. This is all energy that's in conjunction right now. So it's no wonder that Mercury has been drowning. Not only has Mercury been drowning, but there's been a freaking spotlight on Mercury drowning. So it's kind of like that thing where it's like, instead of helping them, they're just kind of shining the light on him. But he's got it, man. Mercury is way too smart for that stuff, man. Everyone has to drown every once in a while, I guess, to remember what it's like to breathe. But Mercury's about to... well, Mercury's just been crazy, man. We're going to talk more about Mercury in the next video in the direct aspects, but this is just kind of general thing. So we've got all those energies combined right now in a conjunction in the Pisces house, the Pisces constellation, whatever you want to say. So that's it. And all three of those energies being in Pisces right now, they're not super close to each other. It goes Sun is in like 8-9 degrees right now, Neptune's 15 degrees, and Mercury's up there in like 27 right now, I think. I should have put degrees on here, but at least I remember them, so I can tell you. So that's what it is. So they're not next to each other, but they're still conjunction, being in the same sign. So they're spread out evenly, which is interesting. But together, the three of them forming that conjunction, and then that conjunction itself is square the conjunction that the moon and Jupiter are forming in Sagittarius. So here we have Sagittarius, and we have Moon conjunction Jupiter, because Moon is in 24 degrees Sag right now and Jupiter is in 21 degrees. So they were directly conjunct on the 21st degree of Sagittarius only a few hours ago, but now the Moon has moved on. She's right on the head of the dragon right now, right on the stinger of the scorpion, all those crazy stars in Ophiuchus and all those stars in Sagittarius, Capricorn, Scorpio, all those constellations right around the galactic center, which is right on the Sagittarius Capricorn cusp, pretty much is what we're talking about here. So Moon conjuncting Jupiter, so that's going to tell us that our subconscious and that our feelings and emotions are going to be combined with the energies of our higher knowledge and wisdom, and of our our philosophy and our knowledge of gaining ways of gaining abundance and things like that. Wisdom. Let's go with wisdom. So we have our reactions and our subconscious, our feelings, emotions, which is what the Moon represents, our yin, our feminine, conjunct with that higher knowledge, higher wisdom type of energy of Jupiter in Sagittarius, which is Jupiter's masculine rulership sign. So this is a very, very philosophically inclined placement right here, and it's something that we're feeling. It's the Moon is the most powerful right now, and just in general, the Moon is the most important because it's the closest transiting object to us. It controls our realm. So it being conjunct Jupiter right now is giving us that wave. And the interesting thing is that it's the aspect that Jupiter and Moon are forming to the Sun, Mercury, and Neptune in Pisces is a square. So it's funny, the Sun, Mercury, and Neptune are in the feminine rulership of Jupiter, but right now Jupiter is in his masculine rulership of Sagittarius with the Moon. So those two energies are squaring, or giving us a 90-degree angle along the path of the 360-degree zodiac wheel. It's a 90-degree angle, and it represents a learning process. So it's still an aspect as far as we are concerned, because they're aspecting each other, which means that they're coming into contact with each other. The energies are mingling and things of that nature. But it's the type of aspect that we're concerned with. So this is a very learning process type of aspect. It could play out. It could play out as a annoyance and annoying occurrences, all sorts of things like that. Learning processes. Things could be great, but but only if you're learning and you're on that path of higher knowledge and wisdom, because that's what the Moon is representing right now. But then the Sun is over there on the opposite side. The Sun's hanging with Mercury, which is a left brain cat, and the Moon's hanging with Jupiter, who's a right brain cat. Mercury and Jupiter being natural polar opposites. So the Sun and the Moon also natural polar opposites as far as we're concerned in astrology, and they're clicking up right now. The Sun is in a right brain sign of Pisces, the feminine rulership of Jupiter. We talked about this, but it's hanging out and kicking it with the left brain, the left brain cat known as Mercury, who we've talked about already. And then Moon's over there hanging out. Moon's over there hanging out with Jupiter, who's the right brain version of Mercury, kind of, for this video's purposes. So just talking about the polarity aspects. And so, so this is a very yin right brain energy, because we're talking about both signs ruled by Jupiter. So we're talking water and fire, which are the feelers, representing the yin aspect, of basically the yin realm, the controllers of the higher dimensions, the fourth, fifth, and sixth dimension. Whereas here in our lower first, second, and third dimensions, earth and air basically are the rulers of this realm. But in the higher dimensions, it's all water and fire, and that's where you get into Jupiter and the fish, and all sorts of crazy beings up there in different worlds, different systems. So I think that's enough for that little aspect. So those are some very significant things. It's not an opposition though. It's only a square, so it's a 90-degree angle. So the energies are kind of together, kind of separate. It's a 90-degree angle, so it's splitting it right down the freaking middle, basically, of a 180. So 180 would be an opposition, and the 60 degrees is the sextile, and the 120 is the trine. So we're going to get into different aspects like that. The next one is that, let's see, let me look at the chart in real life and not in the video. So with our general aspects, okay, so what I next wanted to talk about was how this whole first area, this first line of the Sun conjunct Mercury and Neptune in Pisces, that whole spectrum of energy is in forming a sextile with 3 more planets in a sign that's 2 That's 2 signs over, which is what a sextile is, 60 degrees we talked about. And that's Capricorn. So Capricorn and Pisces naturally forming a sextile. And it's an earth-water sextile, so it's a negative charge sextile. It's a grounding, nourishing type of sextile. That's what the water and the earth brings. So that sextile represents pretty much an opportunity. It's only a 60 degrees, so it's not it's just an opportunity for the most part. It's like knowing the right person at the right time type of thing. So all of these energies having to do with our conscious awareness and actions, thinking and communicating, and our dreams and illusions, those are all forming that sextile, that opportunity type of energy, and those opportunities themselves with the energies of Venus, Saturn, and Pluto in Capricorn, which is cardinal Earth, representing initiating and creating new ways of how to think and be practical. That's what Capricorn represents, the 10th house. Whereas Pisces is the 12th house, mutable water. So when we're talking about Venus conjunct Saturn and Pluto, we're talking about Venus, which is our love, appreciation, and values, and art, things of this nature, the beauty aspect of our realm. This is what Venus represents, the feminine, the woman, the daughter, things of this nature. And then that's conjunct Saturn, which ultimately represents our stability and our structure, and also boundaries and restrictions in our life. And it's more of a father type energy. Honestly, it'd be kind of more like a grandpa, uncle type thing. Yeah, I'm not going to get too into that because the family runs deep. It's quite the extended family. We'll have to do some videos about that, some other astro topics. But for this video, just keeping it strictly to that. So we have love and appreciation, values, and art has been being structured and stabilized right now in a very initiative and creative type of way with that Saturn in its feminine rulership of Capricorn type of energy that Venus has been in conjunction with. Then we have Pluto right in between Venus and Saturn, giving us that extra deep depth of transformation. So giving us a huge transformative value or aspect to our values and our love, appreciation of art, and our structure and stability in our lives, which has been ultimately in conjunction in Capricorn. So we've all been experiencing that type of stability and stabilizing type of energy to initiate and create new ways of how we're going to love and value and relate ultimately, because Venus represents relationships and relating too. That's why Venus rules Libra, the 7th house, having to do with the relationships and the scales, right? The balance. So that sextile right there, that beautiful 6-pointed star, is giving us that 60-degree angle, that opportunity between cardinal Earth, initiating and creating new ways of how to think and be practical, and mutable water, which is Pisces, which is being mutable and adaptable to your own way of feeling, your own and other people's ways of feeling and dealing with the emotion. Shout out to the flight boss out there and Uriel. Was good with the soul group and the subconscious community. Sup? So, got this cool little shirt here. Woo! That was close. Trying to show you this little shirt. It's kind of cool, man. Well, back to the video, man. We'll see some stuff like that another time. But so that's in Capricorn. And the last thing we have to talk about in this video before we break it up and get into the more specific aspects is that that energy right there. Of the conjunction of Venus, Saturn, and Pluto in Capricorn forms a trine, or a 120-degree angle, aka the triangle. It forms a trine with Mars, which is in Taurus, 9 degrees. So if Venus is in 27 degrees Capricorn, Saturn is in 17 degrees Capricorn, and Pluto is in 22 degrees Capricorn. So they're spread out nice and evenly. Mars is in 9 degrees Taurus. So it's quickly approaching Saturn in the degree spectrum where it will directly aspect Saturn in a trine way, which will give us a gift when it comes to our passions, desires, motivations, and energy in our lives. It'll give us a very stabilizing propulsion there, with Saturn coming into a direct applied trine with Mars. And Mars is in Taurus, where Mars is in detriment, because Taurus is the feminine side of Libra, or not Libra, of Venus. But you see how it goes, man. And so there we go. We got Mars and Taurus right there. Can you see? Maybe. Kind of looks like some weird, I don't know, can't really tell. But yeah, Mars and Taurus. So Mars is on his own right now, but also the other cool thing is that Mars in Taurus also forms a sextile with all the planets in Pisces right now. So giving us that extra motivating passionate drive of desire and energy, but it's in Taurus, so it's stifled and debilitated right now in a very stabilizing, very slow and steady type of way. Slow and steady. That's why Taurus wins the race here on Earth, because the Earth is a slow and steady type of energy. So if you want to make it here, you got to have some damn, perseverance. Is that the right word? Persistence. Basically, you got to be consistent. So many words, man. But you got to follow through with that Taurus-like energy. If you got to watch something grow, and in order to build it, in order for it to see it become something, or to embody it yourself, that's what Taurus understands more than anything else. And so that Taurus energy is forming that Taurus nourishing, stabilizing, grounding energy is forming a beautiful sextile or opportunity with the Sun, Mercury, and Neptune in Pisces. So giving us, we're able to stabilize our dreamlike thought forms and things like that of this nature right now in a very passionate and energetic way that's very stable and not natural. That's, to be honest, because Mars is debilitated. So the way that we'll be expressing our passions, desires, motivations, and energy, things that energize us and motivate us, will be in an unusual way, in some sort of a debilitated type of way. You might just get the horns right now, literally, when it comes down to that, when you're expressing those types of values. If you're going against the wave and you're going against the flow, you might get the horns in some way, shape, or form. I got a parking ticket last night, man, because I didn't want to pay the meter, man. Now I got to pay like over $60 because I didn't want to pay, $5 or $10. And actually the real reason was because I didn't have the damn money to pay it. So, live and you learn. Mars is in Taurus right now. Mars happens to be, I think it's 9 degrees, if I'm not mistaken, right? Yeah, it's 9 degrees Taurus, which actually is the degree I have Venus on myself. So I know a lot of the fixed stars in that area have to do with Cetus, the sea monster, and Cassiopeia, the Ethiopian queen, and Andromeda, and the princess, and Cepheus, and Perseus, and maybe a little Pegasus and things like that, and Aries too, definitely still. So there's a lot of very powerful stars in that area, and that's where Mars is right now. So I'm very familiar with this energy, with my 9th house stellium in Taurus. I'll have to put up a video about myself real quick, some astrological snapshot type stuff. But hey, man, this video is getting long, so let me wrap it up here and then get to the next video. And yeah, hopefully this helped you understand a little bit of some of the energies going on right now, some of the general aspects we have going on between the transits right now. We basically covered every planet in our general vicinity except for what's the one? Uranus. We didn't cover Uranus, which is in 29 degrees Aries right now, the cusp of power between Aries and Taurus. So Uranus is only a week or two, a few weeks maybe at the most, away from going into Taurus, back again into that fixed Earth, being fixated on your own way of thinking and being practical type of energy, very structured type of energy. So hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you dug it, man. And until the next video, namaste. And